Hello, welcome to this Timeform video preview for Thursday's racing on ITV. We've got 2 races from Taunton and 4 from Clonmel, so we thought who better to get on than Timeform Irish expert Billy Nash. How are you doing, Billy? Hope you're well, and it looks a good day's racing on Clonmel's biggest day of the year.
Yeah, I'm good, Kieran. It is indeed. It's a cracking day's racing. It always is a big day in Clonmel, so hopefully we can come up with a few winners.
Yeah, we'll start with the first race that's on the 150, the 3 mile handicap hurdle. Looks like we've got Impatient Partner top rated. Personally, I thought there might be stamina doubts about the trip, but have you got a fancy in this?
I actually do, Kieran. Yeah, I'm quite keen on the other JP horse in the race, Manlino. He wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea. He doesn't win very often, and he's probably not the most reliable. But having said all of that, I think tomorrow's race should really suit him. He was placed twice over fences last year, including in the Porterstone Chase. He was probably unlucky not to win that 3 miles and 5 at Fairyhouse. A better jump at the last, he'd probably have won. And I think that's probably his Achilles heel over fences, is he spends a bit too much time in the air. He's not the most fluent jumper of fences. So I think the reverting to hurdles will probably suit him. And 3 miles tomorrow, stamina is going to be at a premium. The ground will be heavy. It's going to take a lot of getting. It'll be right up his street. I thought he ran a nice enough race at Galway in his reappearance. That was 2.5. It was a bit too sharp for him, and let's be honest, he got a fairly easy time of it. But he was doing his best work at the finish. Blinkers back on tomorrow. He's back down to a hurdle mark. He's actually 1 off a pound higher over hurdles than he is tomorrow, so he's on a fair mark. Niall Madden rides him. I wouldn't read anything into that either. I know Mark Walsh is an Impatient Partner, but Niall Madden has ridden this horse on his last 5 or 6 starts, so he obviously has built up a bit of a rapport with them. So I think like I said, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. But I think he's got a big chance. He should be, like I said, he's probably not one to trust implicitly, but hopefully that'll be reflected in his price. And I think he could be great each way value. I'd certainly be very disappointed if he was out of the first 3.
Yeah, it looks like we've got one at a good price there from you. It looks like that Galway form's represented quite a bit in this race. We got Buffer Dub, who obviously was race fit last time, when second. Impatient Partner running that, and Sassy Yet Classy as well.
Yeah, they were all in it. They were all in it. I'd agree with you about Impatient Partner. I'm just not convinced he's an out-and-out 3 mile horse. No, he's still relatively unexposed, so we can't be dogmatic about that. But I'd want to see him proven over the trip before I'd be inclined to back him over it. Sassy Yet Classy was running well at Galway. A bad mistake to output paid to her chances. But again, she's fairly exposed at this stage, and she's been on the go through the summer. I think this kind of ground might find her out. And the other one, Boher Dove, yeah, he certainly would have a chance. He stays well. Like you said, he was fit going to Galway. Ground probably won't bother him too much. But I just think Manlino has a little bit going from back at this trip, so I'm going to stick with him.
Yeah, no, you've definitely made a convincing case, one at the price. The one that I probably thought had a good chance was the Sweet Sting for the Bows. They always seem to get really tough and hardy mares. Sweet Kiln was one, obviously, that Sweet Sting's done. I just thought she arguably shaped best last time at this track when racing really wide, and she just looks to be a 5-year-old on the up. And Westerner Point, I saw Westerner Point was favourite, obviously £20 lower back over hurdles. Is it a case that he's just a better chaser than a hurdler, or is it one of these Irish ones where they just revert back to the different code being so well handicapped?
Yeah, well, he does chop and change a small, but he actually won this race last year, Kieran. He was rated, I think he won it off a mark of 116, so he's gone up £9 for that. As you say, he's still £20 lower than over fences, and he ran a cracker in the Munster National. He was 3rd in the Munster National the last day, so I think on that bit of form, he's entitled to be favourite, and you could very easily make a case for him that it wouldn't be a shock by any manner of means if Western Point was to win this again. But he's an 11-year-old, he's been on the go a long time, and he is definitely a much better chaser than he is hurdler. Sweet Sting, on the other hand, yeah, she's the other end of the spectrum. She's an up-and-coming mare. She does stay very well, so I wouldn't put anybody off her. She should be thereabouts herself, yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we've got that race covered. I think we'll move on to a small but pretty good race in the listed mares chase at 225, over 2.5. We've got Magic of Light £6 clear on adjusted ratings. Would you be sort of willing to take her on first time out, or do you think she's going to be too good for these. Obviously, we've got Shattered Love in there as well, and Cabaret Queen that won the Kerry National, so it's quite a good race given it's a small field.
It is. It's quite a tricky little race. Certainly, Magic of Light looks the class act in the race, but it's not a race I'd be too keen to have a bet on. I think there are too many imponderables in it. Magic of Light, she's back at 2.5. It's probably sharp enough for her, and I see they leave the headgear off her as well. So I think maybe if I was going to back her, I'd certainly at this trip I'd like to see her wearing some form of headgear, because it does just seem to spark a bit of enthusiasm in her. Her last run, too bad to be true in the Bayern hurdle. She's way better than that. And look, she's got a great strike rate. Like I say, she is the best mare in the race, but I think she's probably vulnerable tomorrow. But you could say that about the others as well. Shattered Love is a mare she hasn't hit the heights that she promised she was going to as a novice. Her last run was a pretty good one. She actually won this race last year, but no, it was a bit of a penalty kick last year. She won it by something like 35 lengths, so you couldn't read too much into that. But at least we know she handles the track. She acts well around there. She ran well enough the last day. She'll be fit. If she is going to win a race of this nature, tomorrow's probably her best chance. And Cabaret Queen comes into it after scrambling home in a Kerry National. She jumped a bit out to her right at Listowel that day, so back at going right-handed again should probably suit her. But the one issue I'd have about Cabaret Queen is, after a very good start to the season last year, when remember she hosed up in a Munster National, her form just went off a cliff, and you'd be just a bit concerned that the same thing might happen to her again, you know. So, like I say, strictly on figures, I'd expect Magic of Light to win it, but it's not a race I want to have a bet on.
Yeah, I think I'll probably put up Shattered Love as a potential bet just for that race fitness edge, really. She running that race behind the Storyteller last time, and I know she ran Chris's Dream close in the Red Mills, wasn't it, last year? I know she was getting £12, but I just thought with Magic of Light probably needing further and the reappearance, and like you say with Cabaret Queen, I remember the entry run where she just took off last year, and she seems to have settled a bit better, but yeah, probably Shattered Love just from that race fitness edge was the one I'd probably go for here. We're moving on to a big race, another small field. It looks like we don't have the potential superstars of what we've seen in the latter years, the likes of Duvan and things, but looks like Willie Mullins holds the key. Do you think it is a case of Sylvester Emery will make a winning reappearance back over fences, or do you think something like Backerson could potentially serve it up to him?
I've gone through this race a number of times this morning, and I just can't see Silas Emery getting beaten, to be honest. He's by far the best of these. His record speaks for itself. Like he won all 3 completed starts over fences. I know he fell at Leopardstown in his most recent attempt over fences. Fell at the first. I wouldn't knock him for that. That can happen any horse. He jumped pretty well over fences prior to that. He ran as well as you could expect him in the Champion Hurdle to finish 4th, and there's nothing in this race that could go anywhere near that. The one slight issue with Silas Emery is the step up to 2.5, but on all known form, it shouldn't really be a problem. I mean, he's shaped on numerous occasions as if 2.5 would be right up his street, and I just think he's a class above these horses. Backerson, like you say, is probably the big danger. He did win in his most recent outing, but he's not the horse that he probably, he's had a long absence. I don't think he's as good as he once was. They'll still pick up races with him down through the years or down through the season probably, but I wouldn't expect him to beat the likes of Silas Emery, and you can be sure that Silas Emery is held in much higher regard at Clonsutton than Backerson is. And of the others, it's just easy to pick holes in every one of them. Alpha de Zobo, I think the trip is too short from him, and he just doesn't win races anymore, and just going through some of the others as well, every time I looked at it, I just can't get away from Silas Emery. And if he's odds against, I think he's definitely the bet of the day for me.
Yeah, I was quite surprised when I went through it to see that some firms had them 6-4 joints.
Yeah, I'd be delighted if he ends up at that price, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I was pretty much in agreement, really. Was it Deaf Duty that Backerson beat just before we had?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, on all known form, I think Silas Emery should make a winning reappearance. And
like I said, the trip is the only slight issue, and I don't think it should be a problem to him, really. He's shaped on plenty of occasions as if he'd get it. They actually only tried him once over hurdles in the Hatton's Grace a few years ago, and he didn't run badly. He probably didn't run well enough to absolutely confirm his stamina for the trip, but at the same time, he's a bit older and a bit wiser now, and they'll go a steady enough gallop in the ground tomorrow. So provided he doesn't provided he doesn't pull too hard. Like, he does wear a hood, but if Paul Townend can get him to settle, I think he's just too good for these horses, to be honest.
Brilliant. So then moving on to the 335, the handicap chase over 2.5 miles. We've got a big field. It looks to be competitive. It depends if the reserve gets in. I thought the whole shape of the race could change. But have you got one for us in this?
Like you say, if Fox LaBelle gets in, that does change things quite a bit. I think he's probably the most interesting horse in the race. But assuming he doesn't, let's assume he doesn't get in. I do quite like the look of Get A Day, the top horse. He's still a maiden. He hasn't managed to win a race over hurdles or fences, but he's gone close in both spheres. In fairness to him, I think he was in the frame 3 or 4 times in maiden hurdles. He's been placed in both starts over fences. I thought he ran quite well at Wexford the other day behind the Atlantic Shore, and he's just one of these horses that I've been following for a while, because whatever he did over hurdles, he was going to be a better chaser. He's built for chasing. This was always going to be where he came into his own, and I think we're going to start seeing the best of him now that he goes into handicaps over fences. I think his mark is a fair one. He's been in the frame of a similar mark to this over hurdles. I think he's off about 109, which looks about bang on to me. He stays 3 miles over hurdles, so 2.5. Like I said, it'll be getting towards the end of the card. There'll be pre-testing there tomorrow, so it's going to take a lot of getting, and the fact that we know he stays 3 miles is a big bonus. Got Ambrose McCurtain taking 5 pounds off as well, which is going to be very handy in these conditions. So I think he's got loads in his favour. I'd certainly be very disappointed if he's not bang there in the shake-up. And like I said, he's just one of those horses that I think will be winning races over fences sooner rather than later. And again, there's lots of runners, but it's easy to put a line through quite a few of them,
Yeah, I was in agreement in regards to putting a line through quite a few. The only potential negative I had with Get A Day was, is this going to come potentially too soon, just 18 days on from what looked a grueling race last time? But if he is over that, I think he should be bang there. The one I thought had a chance was another JP one in Vinax, who didn't get much further than the 4th last time, but that was through no fault of his own when being brought down. And I thought that Rachel Blackmore gave Flirting Lisa a brilliant ride the time before when he was second behind it at Galway. And I just think there's potential to improve from the handicap mark he was off. He's rated 98p by us, and he's running off 99. So I thought he'll probably be having a good chance in this. He holds some of these on previous form as well, so I thought he was maybe worth chancing in what looks an open heat, but like I said, there was plenty that probably had more negatives than positives about them.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'd agree with you. Vinax must have a chance from down the bottom of the handicap. You could certainly put a line through his last run. He's, I suppose, still relatively unexposed over fences, so there is some upside to him. I just thought Get A Day was the one that probably has the most potential in the field, and he's a horse, like I said, that I've been following for a while. There's a day in him, and hopefully it'll be tomorrow. But like you said, if Fox LaBelle gets into the race, then that does change things, because I think he's potentially very well handicapped.
Yeah, I was in agreement really. If he was running, I'd have probably put him up. But like I say, it all depends if something does come out. So that's Clonmel covered. There's 2 races in ITV as well from Taunton. The 205 revolves around the Paul Nicholls horse Tomorrow Mystery, who won with its head in its chest at Newbury last week, and there's a Stonewell in. It's probably going to be a log-ons on, so I won't put up a selection in that one. But the 2 mile 7 handicap at 240, it's not a big field, but it looks a competitive event. And the one I'll probably put up is Irish Prophecy, who was second to El Presente at Exeter last time. That form got a boost over the weekend when that one won the Badger Beers, and he's been a lot more consistent this season than of late. And Emma Lavelle's been among some winners this week as well. So that'll be the one for me at Taunton. But it looks like we've covered everything from an Irish angle. So Billy, thanks very much for your time, and hopefully we've picked a few winners there.
Well, let's hope so. Thanks, Kieran.